All right, gang, we're giving it another shot. Things were not going well on the last one, so trying to figure it out. Zach's trying to get his mic working. Start from scratch here. My kids are upstairs, so I told them they can do whatever the hell they want. You know, they can watch YouTube for an hour. That's what we're gonna do. My wife's stuck in Pittsburgh right now. She's man.
Hi.
All right, is that better?
Keep talking, I'll let you know. But I do want to ask you about this.
Edit mic settings.
That
So
you've unmuted my mic. So you're saying my mic sounds fine though, correct? Because it's
yeah, I
on
mean
like the
here.
default mic that seems to be that would go along with the computer itself. So I went into my sound settings and I don't even see my Yeti under one of the devices I can use for a microphone. Like I don't even know how it just disappeared as one of the possibilities to use.
Hmm.
And it's plugged in. I can guarantee you.
So you went to more volume settings, right?
Like I went into like my sound settings for the computer itself,
Okay.
and it's not even. So I go to add device.
How's my mic? Does it sound all right?
That sounded a little low,
It
but
sounds low.
yeah,
All right, well, we're just gonna have to try it.
I think it's
We're gonna
gonna
have
be
to
all
give it a
right.
whack. Yeah, that's fine. Not worried about it, but
So
I do
I'm
need to make
going.
sure we're recording. Record audio. Okay, we are recording, so that's cool. Um, yeah, like I said, this
So
is
just in general, you don't know why that would be.
no.
Like
I
why
mean,
it's
I
not
told you.
why it isn't discoverable in general, even
Nope.
though it's plugged in.
Nope. I told you my troubleshooting what I would do, and no idea. Trying
That's
to
what I
see
did. I
here.
unplugged it and
Yeah.
whatnot. Whatever.
Edit mic settings. It says I can do that, but it doesn't tell me what kind of mic you're on or anything. So I don't know. We're gonna
Doesn't
wing
matter.
it. This is what happens when we don't have our audio engineer.
Huzzah.
So that's what we're doing. So anyway, guys, this is free agency day, and we're gonna go over the stuff. So bear with me. I have to do an intro because this is going to be a what do you call it? This is going to be an episode on the Five Hole feed, the podcast feed. So I have to do all
Oh, and
the wording.
my camera's the wrong camera too. What the hell? What's going on here?
I don't know, man.
It was the right camera, just
It,
the
it didn't
when we
change at
were
all.
on it the last one.
Didn't change at all. It's the same one.
Remember?
It's the same one. All right. I'm at is what it is. That's where we're at.
What the fuck?
So let's just is what it is. How about that? Good with that? Yay, nay. Okay. Device is not connected. Hi, everybody. So anyway, my wife is stuck in Pittsburgh right now. Wow. Yeah. So there was like major weather in Philadelphia last night. And oh, I have to add you back to the stage. All right. So you got the shitty camera to work.
And it even looks worse now.
Yeah. Did you get the mic?
No.
All right, whatever. Fuck it. We'll do it live. That's where we're at. But yeah, guys. So I'm praying we can get this done before my kids lose their shit. And I'm hoping my wife gets home tonight. She's still stuck in fucking Pittsburgh, man. She was supposed to leave at like 10 a.m. There you go. That's a better one. Now it's dark. I don't know. Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's not worry about it. We're not worried about it. All right. You promise? We're not worried about it. I'm
I'm
taking those
not
thumbs
worried
up as
about
a
it.
promise. All right.
I'm not worried about it.
All right, let me bring us in. We'll do the intro and we'll just fucking
Yeah,
do it live, huh?
let's just go because I think
How about it?
once we get into the fucking swing of things,
Yeah, I'm not worried about what I look like here or any of that shit, so I don't give a fuck. Um,
I'm
anyway,
worried about what I sound like that the fucking
it
microphone isn't
sounds
working.
fine.
But
It sounds like a normal microphone. It,
well, then
I think it's fine.
thank God for HP, I guess.
Yeah, let me know if mine goes up and down and shit. So
I'm just gonna
yeah,
keep on drinking this drink. I should have been
there
doing
you go.
that the whole
I got
time.
my shit too, so I'm happy. Ready. Anyway, cheers. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Five Hole Fantasy Hockey Podcast. We are your hosts today, TJ and Zach. Damn, no, hey.
Hey, hey, hey.
That's like
Sorry.
that. I mean, that's the kind of day we're having. We're trying to do this on fucking StreamYard, going live to YouTube. Lots of kinks and stuff, but free agency
It's been
day,
an
guys.
interesting
So
day.
it's been an interesting day. I mean, top to bottom, free agency. We're going to try and go over like the trades that have already happened. We're going to talk a little bit about the draft. I mean, there's a lot to cover, and I do want to keep it under an hour. My kids are upstairs unsupervised right now, so my wife's still stuck in Pittsburgh. You know, things kind of went shitty in Philadelphia. She couldn't get home, so they have their YouTube, they have their Minecraft. They are occupied, but
Things went shitty in Philadelphia. I mean, that's
yeah,
not something you hear often, you know? Oh, that's
well,
right. It, you know,
yeah, and it's the
par for the
airline
course.
business, so things always go shitty. Well, that's where we're at. Let's get into it. We're Five Hole Fantasy. You guys can find us on Twitter at FHF Hockey. You can hop in the Fantasy Hockey Discord. We got Monday mocks. First one is tonight. We're going to have them every week. We're going to throw extra mocks in there, but Monday mocks has that alliteration, so we're just kind of there's guaranteed to be one every Monday. But if there's appetite,
I'm
for
a
one any
sucker
other day,
for
we'll do it.
alliteration, man.
Oh yeah. Here we are on YouTube. You guys might be into that. I didn't advertise it at all, and it was kind of a last minute thing, but it's something that's I think when it's like this, it's something that's so pressing and literally live. Like it's just important to get it out. So there we go. We just finished the Dynasty series. I hope you guys dig it. I hope you guys enjoyed the draft. Lots of shit went on there. Do you want to start with the trades or do you want to start with free agency? I mean, no matter which avenue we go through, it's hefty. Which would you rather talk about first?
I wanna start with trades, the things that like I I want the right here, right now.
Right here, right now, wouldn't that would be free agency? That's today. We're gonna go back and talk about Linus Olmark from last week. I mean, I guess we could talk about
Well, then
Chikrin.
why'd you even ask? Then if you're gonna be like if you're gonna be my podcast wife, why would you ask a question that you already know which way you want to go? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm
Hey, do
confused
you
by
want
the
to go to
logic
Burger
of
King
right
or
here, right
McDonald's?
now. All right, so Chikrin got traded to Washington, and Nick Jensen got traded to Ottawa. There was a pick involved as well. I don't know. Is there anything like really here? I still think like Carlson's the guy. I think Chikrin is going to be the next guy up, which sucks for Sandin. But for me, Chikrin's going to be a power play 2 guy. I don't know that Washington's going to be a 2D kind of power play, so that's not something I see happening for him. To me, this is just kind of a lateral move in terms of his value fantasy wise. Good move for Washington. Like they had a hell of a day. They spent like $40 million. They had $3 million to spend. So I don't know what they're gonna do next. I mean, Oshi's gonna be on LTIR, Backstrom's on LTIR, so they'll make it work. But I don't know. Chikrin, any interest there?
I just haven't been big on chicken for a while now.
Well, I
Like
mean,
I don't
relative
know,
to Ottawa.
just in general. To me, he's more of a depth D man in your lineup, whether it's real life or fantasy. It's the same thing. He's not a number one in any of those situations. But don't get me wrong, he's a guy I wouldn't mind having on my team. But in real life, he's what at best a second pair guy.
And to be honest, that's I don't know how the handed ship, left-handed, right-handed is going to work out. I know Chikrin's a lefty. I don't know what Carlson is, so I don't know if he's going to be on the top pair. We'll see. I don't think there's going to be any substantial power play time for him there, so that's not huge to me. Lots of goalies got moved. Start with Olmark in Ottawa, and Eunice Corpusalo to Boston. The full trade. Olmark goes to Ottawa. Boston gets like Mark Kastelik, 2024 first, 25th overall, Jonas Corpusalo. So, Olmark, I think we can both agree, is the better goalie on paper. Boston is the better team on paper. Nobody's really going to argue us there. What do you think? Because Olmark, I started to dig into the numbers, like defensive metrics and stuff like that, as I do. Expected goals allowed, Boston was 14th. Ottawa was 18th. Shots allowed, Boston 15th, Ottawa 21st. Scoring chances against, Boston 19th, Ottawa 25th. High danger chances against, Boston 24th, Ottawa 23rd. So it's like, it's not a huge difference, but Boston is consistently better. One thing I'll say for Olmark here, I think he's going to get a little more volume. Like, there's not that 50-50 with Swayman anymore. There's still Forsberg, who could, not as likely as Swayman, but still could challenge for starts. And they're both 1 year left on their UFAs, so this could be a competition. But I want to get your take. What do you? I know you wrote that you really like Corpusalo, and I can't wait to talk you out of that. But
because you're not going to be able to.
He's big.
While
he's
you're
big
talking
goalie.
over there, I'm sitting over here with a shit-eating grin on my face because I am. I love this for Corpy, and I'm here for the competition. Let's go.
I don't think there's any competition.
I would take both them goalies. I want Corpy. I like that. I like that look. Now I don't
over
think that
Olmark.
What's that?
Over Olmark
in fantasy?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I feel like it really boosts. I feel like it really boosts Corpusalo's value being on Boston like way more than it did him being on Ottawa. So
for sure.
Me being a Corpy fan, like I think that's big news. Olmark is going. Olmark's going to get. How do I want to say it? Like he might be more exposed. He's going to be exposed in Ottawa, and I think that it's going to mean good things for Corpusalo and bad things for Olmark. That's just my initial personal opinion.
Yeah, and you had me surprised there because I thought you were like, if presented the opportunity, I thought you were saying like if Olmark's out there in the draft and Corpusalo's out there in the draft, that you would lean Corpusalo, which would be wild to me because I think Olmark.
I don't know that
but I'll agree because I think the longer you talked about it, like this does more for Corpusalo than it does for Olmark, and I definitely agree with that. Like the value is in Corpusalo's favor, but I still think like Olmark is probably going to be a more valuable goalie just based on volume.
I think it's something to look into. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of times you're going, goalie by committee, even in your fantasy hockey. And I like those starts that I'm getting from Boston more than I like those starts that I'm getting from Ottawa, I guess is how I would put it, especially if I'm really looking for wins and shit. Like, I don't know. I'd rather put my eggs in the Boston basket when it comes to wins than I would with Ottawa.
Let me paint you a picture of how I see this season going. And I do like Corpusalo last year had the worst goals saved above expected in the NHL. Like this is a metric that assesses his performance, accounting for the quality of the shots that he faced. And I see the defense in Ottawa and the defense in Boston being similar. Like Boston's is better, no doubt, but they're similar enough. Like it's not 4th to 28th, right? Like we're talking 21st to 28th. Where am I at? 24th for Boston for high danger chances against, 23rd for Ottawa, 19th scoring chances Boston, and 25th for Ottawa. So there's like it's not huge difference, but I think Corpusalo is markedly a worse goaltender, and Swayman's good. So I think as the season progresses, you're going to see what might start out as a 60-40 start to spread closer to a 75-25. So yes, the starts for Boston are going to be better, but they're going to be fewer and farther between. Whereas Olmark and Forsberg,
if you really think that Swayman's going to be the one that pulls ahead and goes 75-25, then sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that's truly what you believe. I don't know that I believe that that's going to happen. And I like Jeremy Swayman a lot, which you're fully aware of.
Do you think it's going to be a 50-50?
I think
More
it's going
so
to
than
be
it was
closer.
with
I think
Olmark.
it's going to be closer to it. I think it's going to be closer to it. And then once you get towards the end of the year, just like happens on in a ton of teams across the league, it's going to be tryouts for goalie that's going to be getting the lion's share of the starts at the end of the year, especially going into the playoffs.
Buddy, I'm not even close to that. I think it's Swayman with a bullet, and that's it. With a bullet. Swayman's about to get paid. Like they have, I think, $11 million left after signing
If they
Lindholm that
put
we're gonna
their
get
money
to, Zadorov.
if they put their money behind Swayman,
They're
then
going
I'm
to.
absolutely on. Like, if they
You're
do
gonna
that
see it.
before the year
Yeah.
starts,
They have
then
to.
and the money says you're my starting goalie, then I'm on your boat.
Yeah.
Until then, when they're both in the same tryout position that they're gonna be, if they're both free agents, then I'm still on the fence. And you're not gonna totally talk me out of Corpy.
I don't think Corpusalo, like if Olmark and Corpusalo were in the draft pool and I had the choice, I'd be going Olmark just because I think there's going to be so much more volume there, guaranteed volume, because he is going to go in as the starter ahead of Forsberg. Whereas, personally, God damn it. All right, my wife's calling me. You want to see what she says?
Sure.
What's going on, babe?
All right, so we got to the gate, and
Okay.
the captain was like, "There's still an MEL, but I think it's gonna be fine." So the agents were like, "Hey, you guys want to go down?" So we go down, and I send you all those pictures.
I should probably mute it. This is inside. We're live on YouTube right now, babe.
Oh, why?
We're doing the podcast.
What?
Oh my god, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
No. Oh, all right, yeah. Bye.
No, we want to hear your story.
Yeah, we kind of want to hear this. She can't hear you.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Oh, well, I still want to hear it.
Yeah, she hung up on me. All right. Anyway,
She wanted none of that.
I just want to find
Yeah,
out if she's
wanted
coming
none
home
of that
because
shit.
she's on a plane right now that's fucked, and like they're working on it. It's been there all day, and they just started working on it like 40 minutes before departure, and they're like, "Yeah, it's gonna take 3 hours." What the fuck, dude? Like this shit has been since last night. It got delayed. It was supposed to be in Philadelphia at 7 o'clock yesterday, 7 p.m. It's 24 hours delayed, and they finally started working on the plane. So annoying. Anyway, if I was presented with like Olmark and Corpusalo as options in a draft, I'm going Olmark 100% of the time.
Okay, so you're looking at this in a world where those are the top two goalies. What in this situation? You're saying these are the top two goalies that are available in that draft at that time. If that's what you're getting at, then I'm not against going Olmark because he's going to get a whole bunch of starts, just because. But there's still going to be shit ass starts.
There's the only reason they were shitty last year is because of Corpusalo.
I find it
We're
hard
15
to
minutes into a Corpusalo conversation. We still have 100 other things to happen, but I need you to understand that Corpusalo was a bad goalie. Ottawa was not a bad team last year.
I shut down when you start talking bad about my guy.
Well, there was plenty to bitch about last year because Corpusalo was the worst goalie in the NHL.
He was not great. He was not great last year.
Not even close. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. I think this is going to be good for Swayman. I think he's going to get more volume as a result.
Player of the year.
Zach doesn't believe that, but he is wrong.
I just don't think Olmark is great in general. I don't believe in him.
He won the fucking Vezina like 2 years ago, didn't he?
Yeah,
or something
I didn't like that either.
He's been consistently good in Boston. He was bad in Buffalo because Buffalo was bad, but I don't know. There's the metrics, the defensive metrics of Ottawa and Boston are so similar that it there's not much there that would scare me away from Olmark. Next trade was, we did Chikrin, we did Corpusalo now. PLD to Washington, Kemper to LA. Kemper goes back to LA. This is a great defensive environment. Yeah. He got shafted in Washington. Pretty bad. But now he's in LA. Great defensive environment. It made Cam Talbot look good. It made Dave Rittich look good. Okay. And there's just not a ton that's left over in LA as a result of Pierre-Luc Dubois leaving. LA is a tough one to project because PLD was a bottom six guy. He was the 4C as the season kind of went on. there's reports that Byfield's shifting back to center. So I wonder if he's like 2C. This is where I want to get your take is what does this lineup look like? Byfield shifting to center. Is he a 2C and Deneau shifts to the wing because of like face-off win support? That's something I could see happening. They're not going to get, what was it? Trevor Moore and Philip Deneau. That there's some serious chemistry there. They're not getting rid of that. So to me, that's your line 2. Moore, Byfield, Deneau. And then line 1, maybe it's Fiala. Maybe they do something with Kaliev. I don't know. But line 1 to me is Fiala, Kopitar, Kempe. And then you got Moore, Byfield, Deneau. Third line is like Laferriere, Turcotte, Kaliev. Then like Jeannot, Lizotte. And did Lizotte? I think he walked, actually. He might be somewhere else. So I don't know what that fourth line is going to look like. But that's not really going to matter in terms of fantasy. So like the top 9 for me is where we're at. Things are going to change game to game. This is not an 82 game lineup, but that's kind of where I see like the overall lineup looking like the lines. So for me, Byfield's a huge winner. He gets over to center. It kind of sucks that he's moving down a line. That's kind of tough, but I don't know. What do you think in terms of LA?
What line do you have, Quint? What line do you have Quentin Byfield on?
2C. He'd be my 2C. Because they're talking about him going back to center for sure.
Oh, really? Oh,
yep.
Well, good for him. What, over Deneau?
Well, that's my question is, do you think Deneau shifts to the wing to just give support for faceoffs? Or do you think Deneau is a 3C?
Deneau is such a good centerman. Oh.
Yeah, and that's what I think is he still going to be there?
Oh, I would hate to have Deneau on the third line.
That's what I think too. I just don't see that part happening.
I guess Deneau would have to move to the left wing because you have Kempe and Fiala on the right, so you'd think they're staying there, and Laferriere isn't first line unless they hide him up there with Kopitar. That's an interesting way of looking at it, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion for me there. I don't know what they're going to do. Inside their top 6, I think
center is really hard. Yeah, because Deneau is just
that's where they have him though.
Deneau is like the quintessential 2C. You know what I mean?
I think he still winds up on the second line just as a winger. It comes in, takes the face off, still kind of like a defensively responsible forward. Really helps
you want him taking the face offs.
Yeah, and him and Trevor Moore just have such a good chemistry that I don't think that happens. Where do you see? Because now, like, Washington is almost a completely different team. They added Chikrin, they added PLD, they added Mangiapane. There's a lot in terms of a new kind of Washington. Like they added Matt Roy, Brendan Duhaime. They re-signed Connor McMichael. They did a lot. And PLD, is he going to be a 1C in Washington? Or do you see him as a 2C? Like I think the only other option would be like Dylan Strome, which kind of gets me a little shaky.
If you're putting him at center, you'd think he'd have to be a 1C. He's not great in the face-off circle, as I recall, but they don't really have. Yeah,
kind of garbage.
They don't have too much going on down the middle. Like they just don't. Like they've always been, wing heavy, and really they just don't have much going on.
He's for sure in the top 6, and for sure. Like 100%. We can say that without. Top power play, like I don't know. Daily Faceoff has Andrew Mangiapane up there.
They're getting him in early. They should be able to. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I have.
Except someone's got to. If not, I don't know. I would probably put Dylan Strome on the top line for power play for the faceoffs and faceoffs alone, because they're that important. And you would have him on your second power play unit. That would be in my personal opinion. Who else on that first power play unit is going to take faceoffs? TJ Oshie, maybe he's
Well,
okay.
Oshie's
Adam,
he's I think he's out for the season. He's going to be something
Oh,
they're doing with
shit.
LTIR to make this
But it
make
ain't
this
going to be
fucking work.
Ovechkin. It ain't going to be Tom Wilson. You
Right,
know what I
yeah.
mean? So
So
Dylan
maybe
Strome kind of
Strome,
has to be up there.
maybe PLD too. I mean, that first power play unit always chugs percentage. I don't know. PLD is a really volatile one because he could be on the second power play. It could be Mangiapane on first power play. I'm not sure where I land on that one. But I do think he's in the top 6. Top line, maybe. I think they're going to want to like strut him out as a number 1C considering his paycheck, you know? What is it? 8.5.
Okay,
Like, that's fucking
so
brutal.
let's just take this kind of in like a points direction, because I mean
You can't do
PLD
that with
took
PLD.
a
He
slide.
sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he took a slide.
Big one.
Where do you think he's going to wind up on points being on Washington? Because it did not work in LA. It did.
No. And there were times where it looked really good in Winnipeg and times where it looked really good in Columbus. So, like, I've always thought of him as kind of topping out as like a 65, 70 guy if everything clicks right. And that's if he is top line, top power play, I could see him being in that spot. But damn, the Oilers are going to land Jeff Skinner. He's probably going to be cheap as fuck too, which is great for them. But we'll see what happens there. We'll see. It's going to happen live. Cool. If he's top 6, if he's top line and top power play, I got him for 60. If he's second line, top power play, I got him for like 55, 50. If he's on the second power play, I think it's closer to like 45, 50. So like there's definitely a sliding scale as in terms of where my expectations would be, but that $8.5 million price tag, I feel like management is going to need to justify that to their fan base, to their whoever they need to talk to.
And if he's going out there scoring 45 points, that just ain't cutting it.
Right. And that's where second line, second power play kind of like, that's where his ceiling would be. So I feel like they have to put him on the top line and top power play. So we'll see. I don't know.
It seems like a tough situation.
That's that. Yeah. That's going to be a 2-horse race between him and Strome. So we'll see who, and Strome's got like the rapport with Ovechkin. So he probably has the first crack at it, but they don't have the center depth to be putting PLD on a wing with Strome. Like you can't, not anymore. No, that just doesn't happen. Kemper in LA. What do you think? Like, I think the Kings are a fantastic defensive team. Expected goals against, LA was 4th. Washington was like 20th. Shots against per game, LA had the 3rd least. Washington had the 17th most. Scoring chances against, LA 5th. So like they're top 5 in every single defensive metric. And the lowest Washington is on anything is 17th. So that he's going into a much better defensive situation that should help his numbers. David Riddick is not somebody that can be like written.
Starts. He doesn't command starts.
Well, I was going to say he can't be written off.
He's not going to be pulling. He's not commanding starts. Darcy Kemper isn't walking into that building saying, "Oh, well, I gotta, go out and above, so I can beat out David Riddick for his job." No, it's going to be an open fucking tryout from the start.
Yeah, he got beat out by Charlie fucking Lindgren last year.
Well,
1 year, $3 million for Skinner.
If that's the case, then you suck.
Yeah. And I think that had more to do with Washington than it had to do with Kemper. And I think LA is going to be great for his numbers. Hopefully there's a little bit of recency bias that really drives him down the ADP, which could return huge value. Rick played 24 games last year, posted a 921. So I don't know that like Kemper's automatically going to get Talbot type volume. He was beat out by Charlie Lindgren. So is he guaranteed 75% of the starts? No. So I'll agree with you on that. I think it's going to be closer at the end of the year. If it does go Kemper's way, 60-40. So we could be looking at like, I don't know, 50-ish starts for him. Yeah.
Cool.
Here's a big one. All right. Mikhail Sergachev to Utah. JJ Moser, Connor Geeky, and a 2024 7th nothing kind of pick to Tampa Bay. For me, this kills Sean Dersey. Like last year, he was the power play guy in Arizona. That's not happening anymore. You got Mikhail Sergachev right now. He is 100%. If you even land at like 99%, I'm going to quit this fucking podcast. He is 100% the top power play guy. Can we agree on that?
In Utah now?
In Utah, yeah. Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
All right, we're on the same page. Last year, he had 64 points as the quarterback one in Tampa. The offensive support is going to be nowhere near the same as it is in Utah. But, Dersey was somebody that got 41 points as Arizona's quarterback. Sergachev, do you think it's safe to put him in like that 50-55 range? Because, you got to kind of find a middle ground. He's better, I think, than Sean Dersey at a raw level in terms of raw talent. So 41 points is already kind of skewed lower, but I don't think it's going to be 64 like it was in Tampa. You don't have a Kucherov. You have a Keller. You don't have a Braden Point. You have a Barrett Hayton. So, things are a little bit freaking different in Utah. Does 50-55, does that sound about right to you? Or where would you have somebody like Mikhail Sergachev as the top power play guy there?
I want to see what they're going to look like at the end of the day. But I'm actually liking what Utah's kind of shaping up to look like.
Yo, they spent so much money today. It was crazy cool.
Good.
Yes,
awesome.
Good. 100%. So they got Ian Cole, Kevin Stenland, Kyle Connaughton today. Those were just some people that they went out and bought. I think they even bought somebody else too, because I'm looking at an old tweet from Cap Friendly here. But they got John Marino. Who the fuck else did they buy? Like they got so much defense. It's crazy.
Oh, by the way,
awesome.
I actually like this for JJ Moser too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so bad. He like, I remember him being kind of like a week-to-week sleeper in Arizona last year. Like he was somebody that kind of like kept popping up. I'm kind of with you. I don't think anybody's beating out Hedman, especially not a JJ Moser. I'm not trying to say you're saying that.
I'm saying more for like, kind of deep cuts, like honestly more down the road. I think that he has the ability to be on a power play unit for sure. Like
that's something I wanted to bring up is who do you have?
See that he could maybe be power play 2, at some point in time, especially with Chernak or especially with Sergachev not being there anymore. And I feel like Chernak is the only guy that you kind of have to get past to get to power play 2. Otherwise, it's Hedman as power play 1 for sure. No other way around it. But I think power play 2 might be open, and JJ Moser could get a piece of that.
That is, I don't know who I have as power play 2. Like Ryan McDonough makes some sense. Is he even still there? I don't even know if he's still there.
Yeah,
I think he is.
You have McDonough, you have Radish, and you have Chernak.
I think it could be Chernak. Like he's not as shitty as some people think. Like his reputation right now is kind of just like a hits guy.
I think Chernak is the guy that you have to beat out for power play 2, in my opinion.
Yep. I'm right there with you. I think JJ Moser is in a deep league kind of. I see this as a win for him because he was behind Dersey. I'm right there with you. And I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up as power play 2. This further solidifies Victor Hedman as like power play 1 forever and ever.
Absolutely.
Which is, And it was always kind of like that, like, back of your head kind of thought that, oh, well, Sergachev can take it back at any time. Nope, not anymore. It's not happening. That would be huge for Chernak if he's the guy too, because those bangs on top of 25% power play kind of points, like that could put him into the 35 point range, and that would be pretty big for deep leagues. Sergachev in Utah, Utah's actually shaping up to be pretty good. Their defense core right now is Sergachev, Dersey, Marino, Ian Cole, Yusuf Valimaki, and Michael Kesselring. And they do still have a bunch in the system because Arizona consistently does well. They still have Victor Soderstrom. There are a bunch of guys that are worth looking at. I'm trying to find him. Where did he go? I don't know. But this is so much more fun than Arizona, is what I'm basically getting at. I'm a bigger fan of Utah than I was of Arizona. And I think it's their aggressiveness, like just the new ownership and everything. They're going out, they're trying, which is pretty fun. Moving on to the next trade, Jacob Markstrom to New Jersey. This is huge. And we were talking, I think we were talking in our group chat that New Jersey is making some good fucking moves. They went out, they got Brett Pesce as well. Was it Brett Pesce?
Brett Pesce is awesome.
Yeah, Brett Pesce, Brendan Dillon, and they brought back Stephen Nason was in Carolina. So New Jersey making some good moves. What's worrisome actually is that they had like a lot of defensemen who we were like getting excited to see, like Simon Nemec, and there were just prospects and things like Luke. I don't think Luke Hughes is like gonna go away or anything, but this definitely pushes guys down the depth chart. When you have established NHLers like Brendan Dillon, Brett Pesce coming in, you push Simon Nemec down. Dougie Hamilton, Luke Hughes still fighting it out for the top power play, but this is a good defense, and that kind of circles back to Jacob Markstrom, who like is perfectly the candidate that could chug volume. It's huge, and I'm so nervous because I want to be hype on this, and I know everybody else is going to be hype on it. But it's a new system, it's a new coach. Not only it's a new system to Markstrom, but it's a new coach, Sheldon Keefe. We have no idea what he's going to do. The whole team got a facelift, so I don't really know what they're going to look like. But that's exciting. This is the team. I just got a Brodeur jersey, by the way, like last week. My stepmother-in-law, or no, yeah, stepmom. Yeah, I guess she's stepmom. She got me a Brodeur
jersey. As much as I even respect Marty Brodeur, it'd be hard to wear a Brodeur jersey. Honestly, it's hard, liking the Devils, and it's hard being excited about this. How long have we been talking about the Devils have what it takes as far as roster, as far as their roster, but it's the goalie that's going to hold them back. We've been saying that for like 3 or 4 freaking years, at least probably around like 3, because they were like bad, and they were like, hey, they're making good moves, and then they keep making good moves, but it's always the goalie. It was always the goalie. And how many goalies have we seen from the New Jersey Devils in the past 3 years? Like, honestly, I wish that
Mackenzie Blackwood, Capo Kakinen, Vitek Vanacek, Akira Schmid,
we
Nico
just start
Dawes,
just naming off all sorts of people.
The real life 0G team, and now they finally got like a volume starter. So we'll see how it goes. And they have the defense to back it up. Yeah, this one's worth being excited about. I'm right there with you.
I think they're gonna really be something this year.
I worry that Markstrom, and we have our first mock draft tonight, so like I'm excited to see where Markstrom's gonna go, because I'm afraid that
I gotta stop myself from taking him.
Yeah, you're gonna be the one driving up the ADP. Like this is a guy that I'm worried is gonna be too expensive for me. So we'll see what happens. But I think that's great. Like, this is good. I'm really stoked on New Jersey.
People like to take goalies before, like, people value goalies more than me, and I value goalies a lot in like our relationship. So like, if they're too pricey for me, they're definitely too pricey for you.
Definitely. I think Utah got Jake Wallman too, which I don't see him. Maybe it was Seattle that got. I can't remember where Jake Wallman went, but I know it was the West Coast somewhere. Maybe it was San Jose. I'll look him up. But the other trades that have gone through weren't as. He went to the Sharks. Okay, so I just had that wrong. The other trades that went through, like Igor Afanasyev went to San Jose, Ozzy Weisblatt went to Nashville, Ilya Mishiev went to Chicago, Sam Lafferty went to Chicago, but then signed in Buffalo. Not a ton there, right? I guess Chris Tanev, his rights were signed to Toronto. I don't think there's a ton there for fantasy, but this is a really good move for the team. Like, I think he's going to be a stalwart on the back end and is, a true defensive presence, which is awesome. The one I want to get to is Akira Schmid to Vegas, Alexander Holtz to Vegas, Paul Cotter to the Devils. It's already come out that Akira Schmid is the third goalie in line, and that they were going to go out and they were shopping for a backup to Aiden Hill or like a 2. And there's like unconfirmed reports that it's going to be Ilya Samsonov, which could be cool. Like a Samsonov and
I'd rather
Hill
have Peter
tandem.
Schmid.
No.
Yeah, I would.
No.
Over Samsonov? Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're going to have 3 goalies
In
to
real
cycle
life,
in.
I would. Yeah.
I don't know about that. But regardless, it's unconfirmed yet. Cap Friendly does have Samsonov labeled as a Vegas Golden Knight, but I just haven't seen anything to confirm it, which is wild. So we'll see what actually happens there, and I want to start getting the confirmations. And
I don't
things
think
like that,
anyone's taken a ton of starts away from Aiden Hill, though.
Well, it was a split squad last year, but largely due to the fact that Aiden Hill could not stay healthy. And if that's the case again, then Samsonov is going to be the one doing like 45 to 50 starts, and then you got Hill just whenever he's healthy. And it'll be a split squad again, but I think that's a good split squad. I think a lot of the reason that Samsonov was kind of the way he was Toronto, and I just didn't think that maybe the pressure or the defense or whatever it was,
You could just blame Samsonov for him sucking. But I mean, hey, whatever.
I think that definitely played into it too. It definitely did. All right. Logan Thompson to Washington. There's been a little bit of debate about who's considered the 1A here. Is it Logan Thompson or is it Charlie Lindgren? And I want to get a little bit into this before I pass the mic off to you. Lindgren posted a 9-11 last year for Washington. He did beat out Darcy Kemper. Posted an 890 for Kemper. Lindgren, that 9-11 was propped up by 6 shutouts. All right. And I am not in any way trying to take these shutouts away from him because he shut out Boston twice, Pittsburgh, Winnipeg, the Rangers, and the Knights. So, like, those in no shape are... Those are good teams, right? And it's not easy to beat those guys. But if you remove these 6 shutouts, and I think this argument that I want to have, like if you remove those 6 shutouts are so hard to repeat year over year. Like they just don't happen again. Lindgren, without those 6 shutouts, was an 899 goalie. That's probably that's closer to where I have somebody like Charlie Lindgren, who played 50 games this year, which is like, I don't know, 13 games shy.
1 or 2. Say 2.
He has an 8-year career. This year was about half of his NHL games. I think he had like 34 last year, and then it's just been like 5, 4. I think 1 year he had 14. So like he's been an AHL countryman, and he's finally gotten his big break. And I do believe that, there was some discussions with me and somebody on Twitter, and he kind of changed my mind, which is wild because how often does that happen? How often does somebody on the internet
you don't
change
like
your
to
mind?
change your mind.
Yeah, and me especially.
That's not something that's in your. You don't have that club in your bag.
I do think Lindgren enters camp as the 1A. He's got the hearts and minds of everybody in Washington. He was literally the only reason they made the playoffs. But I think if you skip forward 82 games, I think I
like
Thompson.
Logan Thompson better. I do.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that.
Goalie.
So do I. First of all, he requested a trade. He was signing autographs at the draft as the Vegas Golden Knights goalie. Got traded during it, and like they were like, "Hey, bud, you have to take off your Vegas Golden Knight hat," and he just like turned it around. He started wearing his hat backwards, but he stayed and like signed autographs for 30 minutes past when he was supposed to leave and stuff. So good for him. Like if he wanted to get out, I don't know if something sinister is going on or if he specifically wants something that's more than a 50-50. If the latter is the case, if he wants to be a starter and got traded to Washington with that as the reasoning behind him requesting a trade, I could see why they might like have to start him a little bit more. And I think regardless of what the reason is, at the end of the year, we're going to see just based on performances alone that Logan Thompson is going to be getting the volume, even to a small degree, because I think no matter what happens, like the best case scenario is probably a 55-45 split. I don't really see this tearing away as like a 60-40, 70-30, anything like that. Where are you at with this one?
I like it a lot for Logan Thompson. I agree with you. I think that he is the better goalie. I think that he will end up being the main starter as long as he stays healthy, which I don't foresee to be too much of a problem. I like him a lot better than Charlie Lindgren, for sure, for sure. So I'm in on that boat. I think it's a great thing for him. The only thing is, clearly Washington is way worse than Vegas.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Absolutely. Well, they made a lot of moves, and it doesn't seem like they are giving up anytime soon. So there's that. Kevin Hayes got traded to Pittsburgh. Tanner Jeannot got traded to LA. John Marino to Utah. Andrew Mangiapane to Washington. Beckman
When you were
to
talking
Jersey.
about fourth liners in LA earlier, I was going to say, don't forget Tanner Jeannot went to LA.
Yeah, he bangs. He bangs.
He's the he's the quintessential fourth line left winger guy.
Alexandre Texier got traded to St. Louis. And that's it for trades. Let's get into free agency. And I guess one that just hit the air, Jeff Skinner in Edmonton. Edmonton has to play Moneyball every single year just because they have so much money tied up in, not in Jack Campbell anymore, but in Nurse and Draisaitl and McDavid and RNH. Like,
what do you think about all the people saying that Draisaitl should not be on that team anymore? What do you think about that?
Kick rocks.
I haven't actually even talked to you about this.
No, they can kick rocks. He's a 110, 120 point player, like year over year. It's the same shit with Marner. Yeah, it's the same shit with Marner. Like, oh, he didn't score enough in the playoffs. That's the only reason we didn't win. Like, they made it to the Stanley Cup final. They were 1 goal away from winning.
And then
I'm not blaming that on.
He, became a little Caspery, and he Caspered up. He Caspered up real quick.
It didn't stop him. They scored 8 goals. They scored 7 goals. They scored 6 goals in games. Like, you went into a Stanley Cup final with Stuart Skinner. You have bigger problems than Leon fucking Draisaitl, right?
I know. Okay. I was surprised.
All right. Let's talk about some re-ups here. Players who wound up on the same team. Sam Reinhart signs for 8 by 8.64. Great for them. Great for him. That's awesome. He fits really well there. I'm actually super excited that he didn't leave because I love Reinhart in Florida here. Patrick Kane stays in Detroit, 1 times 4. Matt Duchene, 1 year, $3 million. Sean Dursey, Utah, 4 years, $6 million. Domi stays in Toronto. Middlestat stays in Colorado. That happened a while ago. Hronik stays in Vancouver. Kunin stays in San Jose. Valimaki stays in Utah. Woll stays in Toronto. Kulikov stays in Florida. Picard stays in Edmonton. McMichael stays in Washington. And the one I want to get your take on is Juraj Slafkovsky stays in Montreal. 8 years times 7.6. I don't doubt.
Big price tag.
I don't doubt that he will be worth that money. It'll take some years for him to be worth that money, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not an $8 million guy right now. $7.5 million guy right now. I get it. You're investing in the kid, and this is, for the future. You've got him locked up. It's going to take some time for that to be worth it, in my opinion.
It's going to take it time to ripen.
Yes.
It's going to take it time to ripen a little bit.
Yep.
I think it's a bold move. I do. I'm not in love with all of Montreal's moves, and everyone thinks that they won the draft and everything, which I personally don't agree with. But I'm just not big on Montreal in general, like everyone else is.
We're salty because we got Jet Luchenko. I don't know. We could have had Yzerman. We could have had fucking Steve Boyum. I don't know what Danny's up to, but I'm going to trust him.
I really wanted to, I would have been down on that trade that I was talking about. But
what, to CBJ?
Yeah.
Didn't happen. I don't know. Like, I do think Montreal had a really... I
like Caden Lindstrom a lot.
Well, I think we would have taken Demidov at 4. I don't think we would have taken... No, we wouldn't have taken Lindstrom. We would have taken...
They better have. If they moved up to 4, they better have taken Lindstrom. He's the only one worth moving up to 4 for.
No, people were moving up to 4 because they knew Montreal was going to take Demidov. So they wanted... And, you have Mishkov here, so they wanted that Russian connection.
And Mishkov's coming over.
Yep, signed today. All right,
I was
let's get
hoping we
into
were
the.
going to talk about that, but I was excited about that when I
We
seen it.
can. Yeah, we can.
I was super excited when I seen it.
To me, that's the best signing of the day. It is. Best
I
free
was
agent signing of the
ecstatic.
day.
I'm not I got a smile on my face when I seen it come up on my little feeds.
And there's a lot of people who are like having this conversation. Who's better, Mishkov or Demidov? And it's all bias separated. I really think it's Mishkov, like with a bullet, because people were saying he's the Ovechkin to Bedard's Crosby. You know, like he is the only one that's on Bedard's level, and he was doing that while he was in the KHL. Demidov was in the MHL and had like really like I think there's better parts to Demidov, but I think overall Mishkov's probably going to be the guy. There's lots of people who are in startup dynasties who are Mishkov, Demidov, yada yada. I think it's Mishkov, and I think it's like there's no contest.
I mean, I don't know that you can really go wrong, but I'm ecstatic. I am just over the moon about
Super
Paul
happy
Mishkov
about
thing. Like I can't wait to see him.
All right, buddy. Let's get into these big names. Jake Gensel in Tampa. I don't think much changes in Tampa. Like you went from Stamkos to Gensel. So in terms of like the ripple effect in Tampa, I don't think there is much of one. But I think this is huge for Gensel.
Is it going to feel different?
In terms of what?
In all honesty, the locker room in Tampa Bay, is it going to feel different without having Steven Stamkos in it?
100%. Yes. Yeah. Is it going to feel different playing Stamkos when Nashville comes to town? Absolutely.
Like that's why, and I even like I said earlier, like because I said the other day, I had in my notes about Steven Stamkos going to Nashville, and that's where I was predicting him to go, and I couldn't even believe it when it actually happened.
I really thought it was going to be.
So weird.
I thought it was going to be Detroit. Like I thought there was going to be some Yzerman stuff.
No, it made a lot of sense for Stamkos where he could slot in there and all the moves that they were trying to make, and the fact that they just had just so much freaking money. And as much as Detroit says they want to spend a lot of money, they don't.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
like I don't know. It made sense for him to go to Nashville. I'm excited to see what Nashville is going to look like. And if they're just going to be the same old Nashville that they always are, while they get people and then they just play the same bullshit brand of hockey and nothing really changes, but they could beat you on any given night and you fucking hate them. Because I don't like Nashville. There's something about them. I don't like the Predators.
Well, I got Nashville queued up next. Before we get too far in Nashville, do you think this like I guess we have to take this 3 different degrees, like Gensel in Pittsburgh, Gensel in Carolina, now Gensel in Tampa. Do you see this as his value going up? I think it's maybe the best offense that he's played with. I think like Pittsburgh really had their prime.
I think the fact that he went from Pittsburgh to, even if he would have stayed with the Hurricanes, he would have been awesome on the Hurricanes next year. Now that he goes to Tampa, he's going to be awesome in Tampa because Jake Gensel fits into so many. He can fit into just so many systems. Like he just works. Like I will not be surprised if he is fantastic, and I will be very surprised if he is not good. If it doesn't work, Jake Gensel just seems to fit everywhere.
This is a player
in Carolina. I don't know why they didn't keep him. It made no sense to me that they didn't, but they wanted nothing to do with it. And if he would have gone to Vancouver, which I thought that's what was going to happen, he would have been fantastic on Vancouver. Oh man, he would have looked good in that jersey. Roch would have loved it. He would have loved it.
This is a guy last year, all things considered, 77 points in 67 games. So easily on his way to challenge 100 points. And
he was
his
great.
best total
last year
was 84 points in 76 games. This is a guy who, if he's healthy all year, which hasn't been the case largely for Gensel in his career, I think this is a guy who's easily, like, I think 90 plus. If you put a line at 90 in 82 games, I'm taking the over, no second thoughts whatsoever.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I like the over on 90.
I mean, it's great. Like one thing that
put the over at 95, I'll think about it. But
yeah, I think
90, I like the over.
It's a little bit of a tougher line. One thing that I think will be like an unheralded ripple effect of this is that Stamkos was so flexible, and this is going to play in Nashville's favor. Like, he played center, he played left wing, he played right wing, he played on the second line, he played on the first line. I don't see Gensel as being a second line guy ever. So I feel like that second line is kind of on their own at this point. Like, there were times where Kucherov would go to the second line, and maybe that happens here. Maybe Hagel gets a shot looking there, but I just don't see Tampa as having as much flexibility with their forwards as they used to. And
Well, that's because people played themselves out of contracts. They
True.
had to re-sign
True.
Anthony Cirelli, or else they were gonna lose him. And if they wanted to keep him around, then they had to do what they had to do, so that they have Braden Point and Anthony Cirelli at the 1-2.
hell, they had to
So
trade
that top
Sergachev
line
just
is,
to make this happen.
yeah, that top line is just super loaded.
Yeah,
Gensel, Point, Kucherov. Super
everybody on
loaded.
that top line, this is a benefit for them, but I think the ripple effect is going to start to affect those bottom 9. Like Hagel, he'll see his power play time, but I think there's going to be a lot of even strength points that Stamkos being there instead of Gensel, you would have seen, just a small percentage being a little more spread out, just because I think there was a lot of times where the flexibility with Stamkos allowed the team to move Kucherov down and kind of make those things happen. So that's one thing that I just wanted to put out there. Let's get into Nashville, because this is maybe the biggest story of the day. They got Scott Wedgwood as a backup goalie, so I want to get your take on what this means for Askarov, especially after an 8-year extension for UC Saros. So that's kind of like, I see a lot of similarities between
I thought they were going to trade Saros.
I thought they were going to trade Askarov today, or at the draft even. But you remember how we were with Rene and Saros. Like, when are they finally going to get past the torch? And that's kind of where I see Askarov and Saros at this point.
That's why I thought they were going to trade Saros.
But they're kind of positioned.
Shit about Wedgwood. No, nobody cares about Scott Wood.
Yeah, and this is a guy who I forget what he signed. Like, what kind of deal? I have it down here. 2 years, 1.5. And there's a lot of people that are banging the drum. Just trade Askarov. 2 years of Wedgwood is the perfect amount of time that Askarov should be playing in the AHL. Didn't have the best year last year. Certainly didn't have a year that justified him being an NHL backup in Milwaukee. So, like, he was good, but there's just talking to fans, he was shaky. And I need him to have that confidence. If I'm the GM, like, I need him to have that confidence if I'm bringing him up into the NHL, especially if I'm making big dick moves like Stamkos and Marchessault. You know what I mean? To win with the window that you have of Forsberg and Yossi and Saros now. This is like, I see remember Bouchard?
Their top 6 got for fucking real. Super for
real.
real.
Yeah.
For real,
and
for real.
I just kind of want to get your take on Askarov before we move into that top 6. Do you think they need to trade him? Like, could they? I think there's an avenue where it could benefit the team if they get a center, because Ryan O'Reilly might be aging his way out of being a 1C, especially with the center depth that Nashville has. Maybe Stamkos plays center. That could also.
They have no centers. They have
like Tommy Novak and
Colton Sissons.
Where you at? Yeah. So does Stamkos play center? Does Ryan O'Reilly? Is that your 1C?
And don't get me wrong, Colton Sissons is fantastic for a daily pickup where you're just like, hey, I'm trying to get some hits. Maybe I'll get a fucking point or two and stuff like that. And Colton Sissons might come through. But yeah, they are not deep at center at all. So I could see them wanting to do that. But in all honesty, you could put Stamkos in center too.
Exactly.
He can play that. He can play that. So I actually see them kind of having Stammer in that situation, because you're going to have Marchessault, on that right side. So, in my opinion, you're probably looking at Forsberg, Stamkos, and Marchessault on the top line.
I have, I could see it going two ways. I think it's like Forsberg, ROR, Stamkos is probably in my opinion, the most likely top line. Like, that's the top line I would put together, and then it would be Marchessault, whoever the fuck, and Nyquist as your second line. Give you a bit more of a top 6 than just like a top line. You don't want to be too top heavy. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. but it still sucks because then your center depth kind of ends after line 1. So trading Askarov, if it's going to happen, it has to be for a center.
And who are you going to trade him to? Who has a center that's worth trading for an Askarov price? Because if I'm trading Askarov, I want your world. I want your world.
Devin Levi got traded. Devin Levi got traded to Buffalo for Sam Reinhart.
I mean, there was other. Going to be better than, and Askarov is going to be better than Devin Levi, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the projection. If you can get like a Sam Reinhart level center, that's the move you got to make. And I know there were other parts to the trade. I'm pretty sure there was a first round pick involved and yada yada yada. But I really do think if you're going to make
a interesting way to look at it, because honestly, I feel like Sam Reinhart is worth more to Florida than he is to any other team in the league.
I guess you could say the same thing about getting a center.
You put Sam Reinhart on Edmonton, and he ain't the same Sam Reinhart.
Well, he's just Zach Hyman then.
Why do you say that like it's a bad thing?
Yeah.
See, I feel like
I just think they have
now that's like a personal attack.
No, not what I'm trying to say.
Fucking better not be.
But I think there's a lot of similarities between Hyman and Reinhart. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to think of who has a center worth trading. Like Anaheim, no. Arizona, no. Boston, no. Buffalo, no.
Well, actually, Anaheim, yes. What's going on with Zegras? What's going on with Zegras?
Yeah, there could be something there. Zegras would be a good 2C. Okay, all right, that could be fun. I'd like that.
They're actually talking about like he's on. He's
on the block
with teams. Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, I think right there off the bat at the top of the alphabet, Zegras is a great look.
But as Anaheim with Lukas Dostal, do they need an Askarov? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know. That's a whole other episode.
Good young goalies is probably a really fucking good problem to have.
Stamkos and Marchessault in Nashville. I think this is good for everybody on the top power play. Everybody except for Nyquist, who to me gets bumped down. Probably Cody Glass gets bumped down too.
Sure.
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 And our boy Philip Tomasino probably gets bumped off all power plays.
Cody.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. Hey.
All right. Next move, Elias Lindholm in Boston. Is he the 1C? I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy. It's great for his value because he's either going to be between Marchand and Pasternak or Marchand. They really like that Zacha-Pasternak duo. So maybe that's your line 2 if you want to spread things out, which would open up maybe like a Morgan Geekie up on line 1 or Charlie Coyle. Because I think Poitras was pretty good as a 3C. So maybe they move Charlie Coyle to a wing somewhere and it's Morgan Geekie too. And Trent Frederick kind of gets moved down. I think they have a lot of flexibility now because Lindholm is somebody that plays center and the wing. I like this move. I don't think he's going to be like an 80-point guy like he was with Gaudreau and Monahan. But I think he could probably flirt with like 65-ish, 70.
Well, that's a fucking throwback right there.
Right? Yeah,
that was a throwback right there. Like that was before you start doing that was a different time, TJ.
Big time. Yeah, Calgary looks
a different world. That was a different world we lived in.
And look at Calgary now. They have Anthony. Yeah, I think Charlie Coyle is the only real big loser in my opinion. He probably gets bumped off the top power play. Does he move to 3C?
Unless he automatically ends up with a Brad Marchand, like you were saying, just to kind of have a distillated top 6 so that it's not so top heavy. You put a Brad Marchand with a Charlie Coyle in order to have, even it out. So that's the only way that he might look okay on this. But if they go heavy and have Marchand up on that top line and have him with Zacha, it's going to be tough.
Next up is Brandon Montour in Seattle. I am a big fan of this move. I think they, number one, Seattle, they got Chandler Stevenson, they got Brandon Montour. I don't know if they made any like little kind of moves, but there's a lot of buzz already that, folks are like, is it Dunn or is it Montour? I think it's both. I don't think Seattle is positioned to have 4 forwards on their power play. Like you think about it, McCann had the most points. He had 62. OBJ, Bjorkstrand had 59. And then your next best were all in the 40s. Ellie Tolvanen, Matty Beniers, Jordan Eberle, they all had 40 points. The only 50-point plus scorer that you had on your team, you just acquired in Chandler Stevenson, and he had 51. So,
and he's not going to have that. He's not going to be the same on Seattle.
Well, yeah, with the new coach Dan Bilesma, to be honest, I think you have a right-handed in Montour, you have a lefty in Dunn, 2D on a power play. I think they both play up there, to be honest with you. So I don't think this is bad.
That's
for
hard. Dunn. That's hard to believe. I'm not against it, I guess, because that way you have an automatic. Who are you then? What are you doing for second power play unit then? Are they just going to play the entire time? And then you're going to switch in.
Well, it was always 50-50, but I would have Matty Beniers, Ellie Tolvanen, maybe like Jordan Eberle.
Who's going to be the D man or the D men for the second power play unit? You have Vince Dunn and
sure. I think Justin Schultz hit the market. Run the whole 40, the whole 2 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think they have guys.
I'll put fucking Adam Larson. No thanks.
No, it's not gonna be Adam Larson.
Riker Evans.
No.
Yeah, no.
I don't remember what happened to Justin Schultz. I know he's a UFA, but
I just don't. I'm doing the math. I'm doing the math. I just don't see it.
It's not there yet.
Unless, and if your answer is, well, we're going to have Vince Dunn and Brandon Montour play the full 2 minutes, then that's the answer. Like, I'm okay with that answer.
No, to be honest with you, I think it's Adam Larson. I think it's Adam Larson.
Ugh,
he's going to run the second power play.
I feel bad for that I said his name and then you agreed with it.
All right. Well, I guess
he's going to be out there banging. He's not a power play man. He's not a power play guy.
He is now. Danny Bilesma.
On your fucking team. He's not. He's not on the team that I coach.
Dan Bilesma has made some bad decisions in the past. He used to play Rasmus Ristolainen for 30 minutes a game back in Buffalo. So he's done some crazier things. David Perron in Ottawa. Don't really care about this one. I feel like we're going to be talking about him a lot as a streamer. I don't see this as positive value, negative value. He'll see power play one time here and there. He's good on the power play. Okay. Chicago also did a lot. Now,
well, they had a lot of money.
They had a lot of money. They went out and did it. Yeah, they're starting to insulate Connor Bedard, which is great. They went out. They got Teuvo Teravainen and Tyler Bertuzzi. Now, the big question mark here is going to be Taylor Hall, who in and of himself is a question mark. Like, does he play? I don't know. He hasn't played since November. There was a knee surgery, and it just seems like he kind of wants to just fade to black. Like, he doesn't really. I don't know what he wants to do. So if Taylor Hall comes back, and he very likely could, I just love talking shit on the guy. He's probably your left wing one. And Bertuzzi probably pushes Mishiev down. But the lineup that I have right now is Bertuzzi, Bedard, Kurashev, Mikheyev, Nazar, Teravainen, Reichel, Dickinson, Athanasiou, yada, yada, yada. Blackhawks just signed TJ Brody, too. So their defense got a little bit better. If it's Taylor Hall, then I think, if Foligno finds something to do and Reichel moves down and Mishiev moves down. And, I don't know. Bertuzzi's still going to be in the top 6. Is he going to be on the top power play? I don't know, because I think Bedard is a lock. If Taylor Hall's healthy, he's a lock. Seth Jones is a lock, which means you have 2 spots for 3 guys. So I don't know. What kind of Bertuzzi do you think we get?
I think you get the same hard playing Bertuzzi that you've always gotten.
But do
I
we
like
get
him being.
Detroit Bertuzzi or do we get Toronto Bertuzzi? Do we get 15-minute
I think we
Bertuzzi
get.
or
I think we
17,
get
18?
Detroit Bertuzzi.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I don't know. It's just it's. I don't think his mentality really worked on Toronto, and I think it will work in this kind of, us against the world kind of situation that the Blackhawks are in, where they clearly fucking suck. And as for Taylor Hall, I think he might just be a name. Like, I don't know if he's a real person anymore. I don't see the whole Taylor Hall thing working out. We were waiting for him to be good. And hell, we were talking about New Jersey earlier. We were waiting for that to happen before. But I think that's fantastic for Bertuzzi. And honestly, I like Athanasiou probably on that second line better than Taylor Hall anyway. But I love their depth. The fact that they have, they have Ryan Donato, and you were talking about Reichel, Nick Foligno, Ilya Mishiev, who they just picked up, Toivo Teravainen. They have depth. So they kind of remind me of Seattle from 2 years ago, right? Do you feel me on that?
Yeah.
Where it's like,
they have like four third lines.
Every line can score on you, but nobody is going to be just, hey, these are just, this top line is a bunch of friggin' all-stars.
Oh, you know what?
Anybody.
They got Craig Smith and they got Pat Maroon too. So got a couple extra third and fourth liners in there. They're going to push some of these guys out.
And don't
push any of the big prospects like Nays their lineup before. It was like Slaggert and this, that, and the other thing. So it looks like Daily Faceoff is starting to update. They have Bertuzzi, Bedard, Kurashev, Taylor Hall, Dickinson, Teravainen, Athanasiou, Reichel, Mishiev. And that makes sense to me too. Like, I think the top six is going to be really interchangeable in terms of like Bertuzzi and Taylor Hall. It's going to be a top six spot.
Very liquid. I think it's going to be very liquid.
And finding out who's going to be on that top power play is going to be big. Is it Teravainen? I think he is somebody, like, we talked about him on the Hurricanes as just being this great passer.
It's because it's fucking true.
It's so true. He kind of gets
true.
6 goals, and it's like that Ryan Johansson of old. Like, he is a perfect guy to be dishing to Connor Bedard. You have Seth Jones dishing to Connor. Like, just load up on guys who pass because you have a goal scorer in Bedard. Bertuzzi, maybe he's your net front guy. He does kind of have that like bulldog energy, but Kurashev, he could also be that.
Someone's got to play the bumper.
Yeah. So does he play that kind of like half and half bumper / net front, almost like a Reinhardt or a Marchand? Maybe. I don't know. That's going to be a fun one to follow, and I think there's definitely more value on Chicago this year than there was last year. They didn't do much in terms of goalies. They picked up Laurent Brossoit as a backup, and they still have Peter Mrazek as their lead. But I think Brossoit is somebody that can shoulder a little bit more, which is going to be good for Mrazek because he might need it. Yeah, that's all I got on Chicago. I want to get your take here because Toronto is kind of close to home for you. OEL, regardless of the contract, 4 times $3.5 million. I think it's decent. Like.
Okay. The contract is fantastic.
I don't mind it
because you're only paying him $3.5 million a year, so I'm all about that. As far as OEL as an actual defenseman in the NHL, I'm over it. I find that his deficiencies lose you pucks way too friggin' often, and I'm not super stoked on him being on Toronto. So it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. Don't get me wrong. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him to do well. But if OEL wasn't on my team, I wouldn't be upset about
it. I don't know that he's going to beat out Riley. Like, that's the only way I see value there.
God, no.
Well, Riley.
No.
So this is where I'm at because I think there is an argument. It's not going to be a strong argument, but I think there's an argument to be had. He had a good run on Florida's top power play.
I'd rather have Timothy Liljegren.
He's up. He's going to be there. But I think Toronto is more of like a tried and true kind of guy. Like they want somebody who has a resume. Riley had 20
OEL
power play
doesn't
points.
make being overrated.
OEL won the Stanley Cup as the top power play guy. And that was only because Florida's power play was doing so poorly against Edmonton's awesome penalty kill. So they wanted a righty up there or lefty. I don't know. They just wanted to switch from Montour. So I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I still have Riley, but I think there's
That
an
penalty
argument.
wheel was awful with him on it. Ugh.
He had a good run while Montour was out early in the season. Like, after Montour came back, OEL went back to his 29-point pace self. So that's where we're at. Anthony Mantha in Calgary, don't really care. He is a Mangiapane replacement, and to me, nothing more. Pat Maroon in Chicago, don't care. Washington, Matt Roy, this one's going to be sneaky good. I don't think there's any power play there, but Matt Roy is always somebody that bangs around a little bit. Chando Steves in Seattle, 7 years, $6.5 million. Is that 1C money, or do you think Jared McCann is that 1C? Bilesma, huge question mark. Don't know how he's going to do his roster. Chandler Stevenson, not like a huge offensive driver. His career high in shots is 125, so it's not like you're getting a bunch there. Where are you at with him?
With Chandler Stevenson?
Yeah.
I thought we kind of talked. We touched on him earlier. Honestly, I think that it's going to be the all more of the same for Seattle. In my personal opinion, it's going to be scoring by committee. So I don't know that I can
put
my finger on anyone that's going to just bust out. And in all honesty, I don't think that it's going to be Chandler Stevenson. I think that back when he was scoring a ton of points, that it was not sustainable for him as a player, especially being on a different team like Seattle is, as opposed to what Vegas was at that time. So I'm not super huge on Chandler Stevenson. Honestly, I'm bigger on you getting better value out of a Matty Benyai next year, because he won't be drafted as high as he was this past year. And I think that he'll take a step forward, and then you'll be able to get better value out of that pick as opposed to an overvalued Chandler Stevenson.
I'm with you. A couple more like really kind of middling picks. Danton Heinen, 2 times 2.5 in Vancouver. Chris Tanev, we talked about him. Zadorov, gonna bang in Boston. He's such a Boston player. That's a good move there. Brett Pesce in New Jersey, we kind of talked about him with Markstrom. Brady Shea in Nashville.
Love it.
Great move. Barry Trotz, swinging dick all day. Jake DeBrusk in Vancouver, 7 years, $5.5 million. I know Raj is like super bummed about where Vancouver kind of ended the day. Like, you look at their last year's roster and you look at this year's roster, it's not a better roster.
$5.5 million a year.
Yeah, there's term there for sure. I think it kind of leads me to believe that he is going to be a top 6 fixture. And they have a lot of these guys, just like gross guys. Like they went through like Beauvillier, Mishiev, like all these kind of Danton Heinen now, like kind of blah dudes. And DeBrusk he's still blah, but I think he's going to be better than that. And damn, I was looking at their roster. Don't they still have some deficiencies on their top line? Especially if like,
well, they have
Brock
deficiencies.
Besser, Nils Hoglander. Yeah, okay.
Left wing. So I mean, you have Niels Hoglander, and then you're going to have Jake DeBrusk. That's your top 2. On the other side, Brock Besser is a right wing. Puck Olsen is a right wing. So I mean, that's side where it's a lot deeper than the left side is.
That's where DeBrusk was doing a lot of his damage. It was always like Marchand, Bergeron, DeBrusk, and they have Pasta on line too. So I wonder if
he should be on the left wing.
He
should be on the left wing for Vancouver.
Yeah, yes. I wonder if he like moves Pius Suter down, and Dakota Joshua is like a really tough. He's a good checker. Like him and Teddy Blueger together, that's a good checking line. I don't think
awesome.
Connor Garland
that means he should be on the 3rd or 4th line.
Yep. So they'll figure it out. It's just, I know Raj was super disappointed. They did not sign a backup goalie, so it seems like they're going to run with Silovs here. We'll see what happens. Shane Gostisbehere, I'm pretty sure he signed in Carolina. He's just the next Tony DeAngelo. That's all I got there. All right, here's a cool one. Victor Arvidsson in Edmonton. Now, if he can stay healthy, this could be huge. And I'm not saying like top power play huge, but like huge to a bottom of the roster kind of flyer, in and out streamer, yada yada yada. Because if you're running a top six of RNH, McDavid, Hyman, you could have Dylan Holloway, you could have Evander Kane on the left wing of that line too. Draisaitl, Arvidsson. That's a decent top six. Like Arvidsson as a second line guy, that to me is fitting. And I think that's a good top six. I mean, it's a good top six, just having McDavid and Draisaitl in there. Then you got Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Evander Kane. If Arvidsson is the worst player in your top six, you're doing pretty good. Oh yeah. Do you want me to do a ramble so you can go make another drink? Zach is just fucking texting me. I'm gonna get drunk. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more for us.
That's not what I said, but I texted. I put a little message on the little on our the video chat here, and you didn't.
Oh shit!
Like,
yeah.
You didn't even.
That's
like,
what that noise.
Your eyes didn't even move, so I was like, "Fuck this!
Yeah.
I'm gonna."
That was 1 minute ago. Damn. All right.
Well,
yeah, I'll do a little bit of. I'll do a monologue here. Go make another drink. I'm gonna bitch about Sean Monahan signing for $5.5 million in 5 years in Columbus. That sucks.
Man.
I mean, Fantilli's still gonna have his day. Like, I don't think this pushes back his timeline at all in terms of like when his ceiling is gonna arrive, because I think Sean Monahan's gonna be an easy enough guy to beat out. It was a perfect time for Sean Monahan to get paid, and he did. Yarmo would never sign this fucking contract, and I was really disappointed to see this. I don't think Sean Monahan is cut to be a 1C anymore. He had a really good year, and is getting paid because of it. And that's tough to me, and it hurts because I'm really excited about what Fantilli can bring to the table, and this might put, I guess, an expiration date or the opposite of that. Like it pushes back his timeline, I guess. So it's good for Sean Monahan because he's going to be getting that kind of time on ice. He has a history with Johnny Gaudreau, obviously, so there's going to be that they're going to be able to work with together. Does he get top power play? Probably. There's not a ton else there. I mean, there's Boone Jenner, who again gets moved down as a result of the center depth. You have Monahan, Fantilli, Sillinger, Boone Jenner, Sean Corrali, Kent Johnson. Even like they have centers, and for some reason, Daily Faceoff has Ivan Provorov as the third line right wing. Super weird. Regardless of that, I hate this signing just because of the term and the price tag. Like, I think it's a good fit in terms of teams, but if you're in a cap league, that sucks. That hurts. Oh shit! And I was talking about Victor Arvidsson, Jeff Skinner now in Edmonton. I guess I'm gonna have to come back because if Jeff Skinner's in Edmonton too, like, you have a little bit more depth. Evander Kane, Ryan McLeod, Jeff Skinner. That's your top 9 now. Pretty cool. I'm all right with that. And I think they brought back Matthias Janmark too, which is pretty decent. So I don't know. Edmonton looks really good next year. It sucks that they didn't address goaltending, but Stuart Skinner did have, like, he doesn't have my faith yet. You know, he definitely brought them to the Stanley Cup. So there is faith there, and I get it, but I just feel like you need to do more than Skinner and Calvin Pickard in net. That hurts. So I don't know. Jeff Skinner is just going to bring a new kind of, I don't think there's much there in terms of fantasy, especially a lot less than there was in Buffalo, where he was seeing, you didn't have the caliber of players ahead of you on the totem pole, as you will, in Edmonton. So I don't think there's probably no hope for top power play time there for Jeff Skinner. But he gets out from that $9 million price tag. So if you're in a cap league, that's probably fine. Tarasenko, I don't know if he signed anywhere. Laurent Brossoit back up in Chicago. Wenberg in San Jose. San Jose making some moves today too. They made a fair bit of moves. To Foley too, and Alexander Wenberg. Now, Macklin Celebrini is more than likely going to be joining the team. you already have Logan Couture. So how does this team look? Like they re-signed Luke Kunin, so he's a third line guy, but now they have Alexander Wenberg, who was great as a 3C in New York, and I really like that move. Do you have Macklin Celebrini as your 3C to start? Like I remember, Claude Giroux coming into the league, he was a 3C, and then he was a 2C, and then he was a 1C. Like, is that the route you take with Celebrini? Welcome back, Zach. What are you drinking?
I am drinking pineapple juice, orange juice, and Sailor Jerry.
Oh hell yeah, that sounds pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Gin and lemonade, my go-to summer drink.
It's a nice summery drink. Everyone likes.
Just talking about San Jose.
Yeah, no, Macklin Celebrini, I would think is definitely going to be on the big team, and yeah, you should definitely start him in the bottom six. At least you're not throwing him right into that top six, especially because they don't really have the players around him yet to make it worthwhile, in my mind. So really, you're just trying to get him out there for time. If you're San Jose, that you know that this is not your year. Obviously, you're trying to get other center depth. Why would you get Alexander? Why would you get Alexander Wenberg just to put him on the third line? It makes no sense to me.
But he's also like he could fit as a third line guy.
Yeah, on fucking New York, on the Rangers.
Fair enough. And this is one where I think the 2 years kind of signifies to me like, okay, we're gonna gently work our way with Celebrini. Like I don't think putting him as a first line center is the right move.
Well, he's not Connor Bedard. That's why.
Couture is, I think he's a 1C, and I'm not trying to say you're not. Like he's a 1C eventually, but a 2-year timeline with Wenberg is a perfect like progression, right? Like if he's
Agreed. And you
Wenberg can be your 2C,
there, who's a legitimate center. They really, in all honesty, I don't think that they. Hell, even with Couture, I don't know that they have a legitimate 1C.
Yeah, Couture, he's starting to age himself out, but he holds it down, and I get that. Like Tomas Hertl leaving really had a vacancy there, so
I'm so much more interested in watching LA Kings hockey than I am San Jose Sharks hockey.
Fair enough.
If I'm going West Coast, that's where I'm going.
Tyler Toffoli bringing some help to the Wings too. You're not going to be as depleted. Like Thomas Bordeleau is probably the guy that gets moved, or Fabian Zetterlund. I am interested in Toffoli here because Toffoli's always excelled as a big fish in a little pond, and I think that's what we're going to see here. So I think he's somebody worth checking out for.
He upset me last year.
Did he?
Because I thought that it was going to work. I was so super high on it. It seemed
Jersey
like it
or
work
Winnipeg.
Yeah, in Jersey. Honestly, I think it could have worked in Winnipeg if they would have worked it out. I think that he would be better on Winnipeg than he definitely will be on the Sharks. If this is some sort of renaissance for Tyler Toffoli, I will be just very surprised. So no, I'm not big on Tyler Toffoli this year. I understand your big fish in a little pond idea, which he definitely would be in this situation, but he turned me off last year, and I'm a Cancer, so I'm an emotional being. You know what I mean? And Tyler Toffoli crossed me, so I don't know if I can believe in you. Even especially now that you're on the friggin' show.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like you take that and then you put them on maybe your least favorite team.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh my God, that's just double negative.
Chris Drieger is going back to South Florida. He's going to the Panthers. How about that? Like I was just about to get to Stolars, who moved to Toronto, and this just happened. So Chris Drieger going back to Florida. Cool. Yeah. All right. Cam Atkinson still on the board. Matt Dumba in Dallas. Not a lot there. Matt Grzelcyk in Pittsburgh. You got Letang. You got Erik Karlsson. You're not seeing power play time. Scott Wedgwood in Nashville. We went there. Anthony Stolars in Toronto. Stolars and Joseph Woll. That's your duo, bud. I think Stolars is good, but I also think he benefited from seeing backup competition, backup level competition in Florida. So like, he was his stats this year. I know he played some games against starter level competition, but this is like
there's no way that this is how they go into the year, right?
they did enough with their defense though, with Tanev and OEL.
No,
They even got
no, they didn't.
Labushkin. Like, yeah, they did. I think they did. Like, you insulate your goalies a little bit better now. And
Yeah, that's fantastic. If you want to win a Stanley Cup, you have to have Stanley Cup level goaltending. You will get exposed in the playoffs, especially the further you go.
Well, 2 years ago,
Do you think Joseph Woll can win a Stanley Cup? Do you think Anthony Stolarz can win a Stanley Cup?
I didn't think Stuart Skinner could. I didn't think Anthony Niemi could. I didn't think Michael Leighton could.
Did Stuart Skinner
Anthony Niemi did. Cup? He got close enough.
Did he win one? No. I can't remember.
No. But Anthony Niemi did. Anthony Niemi beat Michael Leighton in the literal 0G Stanley Cup of 2010.
Yeah, and who is the better goalie out of the two?
Anthony Niemi.
Exactly. Yeah. So the better goalie won for a fucking reason.
Okay, so but they were the bar was fucking low.
Anthony Stolarz
against Stuart Skinner.
Couldn't hack it on Philly. You know what I mean? Come on.
Nobody can hack it.
Come on. This craziness. How are you going to try to sell me on this? Like
I'm trying to sell you on it.
I feel like you know that you're just selling bullshit here.
Snake oil.
Talking about him being feasible for a Stanley Cup contending team. No.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. What I said was they did enough to their defense to help these guys out. And there's no way that is not true. I'm not saying this is a good enough tandem. It's probably better than Matt Murray, Martin Jones, and Joseph Woll.
You are a fantasy hockey politician. You say things
just weasel words
that are untrue, but they aren't false. You know?
Yep. I think the defense is good. I got this for a 50-50 Stolarz and Woll. I think they're going to play 50 starts each, or 50% of the starts each. That's it. Here's one for you. Detroit. We talked a little bit about they brought back Patrick Kane, so their forward core is largely unchanged, but they have Cam Talbot now. 2 years, 2.5. That's your starter. They also have Husso, Lyon, and now Jack Campbell, all NHL level starters. Who gets sent down? Do they run with 3? What the hell happens here? To me, it's Talbot and Husso.
Backups.
It's Talbot and Husso or Talbot and Lyon. So somebody's got to go. Detroit's in a position now where they can deal Husso or Lyon if they so choose. And there's probably going to be a suitor out there. Tell me there's not.
I can't do it. I can't have this conversation about
I don't know. I think
Billy
Talbot
Husso and Alex fucking Lyon, TJ.
Talbot's going to get volume. He's going to get so many.
Yeah, Talbot's the only answer. If you're giving me that option, I'm going to take Billy Husso next because he's the only person I kind of trust.
Lyon had good stretches. They all had good stretches. They all had really bad stretches.
Of course they did. Of course they did, or they wouldn't even be on your tongue in the NHL. But the fact is, they're backups at best.
All right, I got one for you. Who gets more starts, Talbot or Markstrom?
Markstrom.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. Thanks. It was a fun little thing. Samsonov, still don't know if he's in Vegas for sure or not, but that's what the rumors have. NHL Network put something out with him going to Vegas. Cap Friendly has a Vegas icon next to Samsonov's name. I just haven't seen. Well, I mean, today was fucking wild. Wild.
It was great.
The first time ever that $1 billion has been spent on free agency day. So
let's go win for hockey.
Hopefully somebody's not here. Casey DeSmith in Dallas
Tuesday for the NBA.
Victor Olofsson still unsigned. Cam Atkinson still unsigned. Kakinen back up in Winnipeg, which is strange because I thought they had Eric Comrie too, so I don't know what they're doing there. And that's it. Why don't you? Do you want to do an outro for us? or like kind of wrap up because I need to go check what my dog's barking at and make sure nobody's trying to get in the house.
No,
What?
I don't want
You
to do
got
that.
you're gonna have to.
No, I'm gonna
You're gonna have
wait
to
for
say
you to get
something.
back. I'm just gonna drink this drink until you get back. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Let me drink this drink. In all honesty, though, it was a pretty fun day today, as far as all the crazy stuff going on. So I was very excited about that. I can say that I had my eyes glued to the phone, waiting for what what was going to happen next, and the next shoe to drop. So I was pretty excited today, in all honesty. So just be able to get on the computer and kind of do this episode, just to be able to talk some hockey and kind of get some of the poison out was a lot of fun. So I'm glad that we were able to do this. This is one of our first times kind of going live, and I know it was a little janky and a little off the cuff,
Yeah,
but
we'll work on it.
I'm glad that it happened.
Yeah, buddy. It was just my cat on top of the refrigerator my dog was barking at.
Sounds about
What are you
right.
gonna do? Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
you can
like
do
Zach
a
said.
real outro. You can
Okay.
do a real
All
outro.
right. Beautiful. Thanks for joining us, guys. I do want to give a special shout out. I know they're never going to hear this, but like it's just so important to thank Cap Friendly for what they have done. They're going away in a few days. Like Washington bought them, and they're going to be private. I think come maybe tomorrow or the 4th or something. But
I've been using them up until now. I've still been using them.
Yeah.
While I can.
I use them a lot today, and it's just like it hasn't even hit me that I'm not going to be going on their site anymore. And like watching these guys come out with new stuff, even up to like today, But historic day, the first time $1 billion has been spent on free agency day. Huge thanks to the guys at Cap Friendly for everything they've done. Best of luck with the Washington Capitals. We're moving to Puckpedia, I guess, or Sport Track. So hopefully somebody steps up. Puckpedia is a fantastic resource as well, and I'll be leaning on them pretty hard. And yes, turning the lights out in Cap Friendly. And thank you guys. Love you. To everyone else, thanks for listening. Hope you guys dug this one. Like I said at the top of the show, unable to keep it under an hour, but if we breezed over something or missed something, it was going to happen because so much happened today. So if there's anything we missed, feel free to chirp us in the Discord. We got these Monday mocks. One starts in an hour, and then we have another one, every Monday. And we're going to try and do them more often throughout the week if there's interest and stuff. So pop in the Discord. I'll put the link in the episode description. You guys are welcome to join.
When do you think Markstrom goes in this first one? Where do you think he goes? Come on.
I'm going to say 6th round.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was thinking 8th for some reason. And I was thinking if he's out there in the 8th, I'm fucking snagging him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if he's out there in the 8th, you got to take him. But I think just because of the new team, the new coach, just all the glitz and glam that surrounds New Jersey right now with bolstering their defense, like people are going to be, I think there's going to be some reaches that happen.
And let's be honest. I mean, you know me. You've been to the casino with me. I love fucking flashy lights and stuff like that.
Oh,
Things that glitter, and you walk into the casino. I remember. Oh my God, my eyes just light up. That's what it is. That's what he is to me. I want him.
Right.
But I don't want him in the 6th round. I want him in the 7th at least.
I want him in the 16th, but probably won't get that.
That ain't gonna happen. But 8th. Oh man, if he's there in the 8th, boom, take him. Boom.
All right, y'all. That is a wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hit us up in the Discord. Hit us up on Twitter. Feel free to leave a review on the podcast if you guys are digging it. We've been back a little bit this year, so we hope you guys are having fun. We're having fun being back.
We're gonna be back.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.
Love yous.
End stream.